What's up, guys? This is Tai Zen, and I'm broadcasting from the Bitcoin, blockchain, Ethereum, cryptocurrency super conference in the city of Dallas, which is located in the great country of Texas, here next to America, right? All right. With me today, we have Mr. Snappy Snap from the PIVX project. Say hello.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
So we're here talking about PIVX, guys, because if you've been following our channel for a while, you guys know that we're huge proponents of an individual's financial privacy rights. Out of all the human rights that we have, financial privacy rights are the ones that get violated almost every day without us knowing about it, because it's being used, it's being done with technology, right, by the governments, by the banks, by the institutions, and by businesses to spy on us. And the best way to deal with that is to use an old approach that we have in Asia, where we talk about treating a poison with a poison. The way that you treat this snooping around and invading people's privacy is to have a better privacy technology. And one of these better privacy technologies that exists in the market right now is a privacy technology called PIVX. And what they do is that they obfuscate, and that's a fancy word that means to hide and make unintelligible, right? So they obfuscate everyone's financial transactions, so no one can know who the sender or receiver is. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's absolutely correct, and we do that using a custom protocol, which is the Zero Coin protocol, and in PIVX, it's called ZPIV.
Yep. So in this episode, guys, I want to dive a little bit more deep into how this project got funded and how it started and how it got funded. Software that is used by thousands of people around the world is not going to be built for free. Someone has to take the time out to build it. Someone has to do the outreach. Somebody had to put up money to print that sign. Somebody has to pay for the websites, the servers, everything. So I want to talk about, in this episode, I want to talk about how is the PIVX project funded. You guys did you guys do an ICO, a crowd sale, or anything like that?
No, so this is one of those, you want to say OG, like original cryptos back in the day when ICOs weren't even, that wasn't even an acronym, right? There's so many acronyms now. Yeah. So PIVX was announced in 2015, right around Thanksgiving. It launched 2016, January 31st. There was no ICO. There was no Instamine. So, back in the day when you had miners, they'd be like, oh, like, stealth announcement, and all of a sudden the founders are like mining the coins so that they had a stockpile. And we say no pre-mine with an asterisk, meaning there were 60,000 PIV that were pre-mined, but they needed to do that in order to start the masternode network, right, at the start. So those, at the moment when they said we're going to do that, which was announced in advance, they also said we're going to publicly burn those at a later date, right? So this was basically started clean. It was just, here you go. Like, it was originally a mining coin. It's now proof of stake. How it was funded originally was just people. It was literally people putting in their own blood, sweat, tears into this project because they believe something. And since then, it's morphed into actually having a treasury, which, if you want to talk about that, yeah, let's go.
So let's dive deep into what is a treasury, because whenever we talk about treasury, a lot of people think it's some type of government, like Treasury Department or something like that.
Yeah, we got a backdoor into
yeah.
Like bringing money out.
So talk about what is a cryptocurrency treasury, so that the people that are watching this that are new to the blockchain and crypto space, so that they understand it correctly.
Yeah. So the way it works in PIVX is this. Every 60 seconds, there's a block reward, right? And that's what's paid to the stakers and to masternode holders in the network. Along with that, basically, as that block reward goes for 30 days, there's a certain amount made. Every 30 days, up to 21,000 PIV can be created, excuse me, via the governance protocol of voting on proposals, okay? So basically, it's hard-coded that up to 21,000 PIV every month, every 30 days, is available. So what it means is, if proposals get submitted asking for that entire amount, then 21,000 PIV get created on that super block. If there's no funding asked for that month, then those 21,000 PIV are not created. Okay. So if that makes sense.
So it's
not like coins are going into a treasury every month and there's surplus like carrying over. No, it's creation based on voting budget proposals.
Okay, so a treasury is a funding mechanism, and instead of raising money from the public, you guys decided to build the treasury, the funding mechanism, into the software network, and it actually mints the new tokens so that the network can use it to hire engineers, pay for marketing, pay for community outreach and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying that, so like, okay, so my understanding is like something like Dash, they mint X amount of tokens, of Dash tokens each month, and if it's not being used, it goes into a treasury, right, or into a pool, right?
I'm not sure. So don't hold me accountable for this one. I think Dash actually it's the same, where it's a budget proposal, and if it's not created, then they're not created. I could be completely wrong on that. Yeah, we'll have to dive into it.
Oh, okay, so okay, how about we use Decred as an example, because I know this for sure, because I talked to one of the guys that work on the Decred team, right? They said that they have the portion of the block rewards that come off every month, small portion of it. A big portion goes to the miners and the stakers that are volunteering their computers to secure the network and process transactions, but a small portion of it goes into a pool, automatically. Yep. And if the community doesn't use it, that pool just builds up. And the last I checked, like a week ago, that pool is like over $60 million now, right, for the Decred project. So they have a massive war chest to do development, do community outreach, do marketing for their project, right? So what you're saying is that in the PIVX project, they don't have a pool.
It's not automatic. Yeah, it's not automatic. So pools can be held by proposals that have received the funding, but it's not an automatic fractional amount going into a pool that just sits there and grows and grows and grows, right?
So every month it's all or nothing.
Well, it could be some. Right, so some months, let's say 15,000 PIV were minted. Some months, maybe 5. Some months, the entire budget was maxed out. And in fact, we have some people that actually work on that to say, guys, we have up to 21,000 PIV available. Let's max the budget, right? Yeah. Because then at least let's take them out, and then we can have them in escrow and use later. So, but the original thought process behind it was they didn't want to just mint coins and just have it sit there, right, in somebody's account. Because remember, the difference is this, in the PIVX community and with budgets and governances, I submit a proposal, right? And you submit a proposal, and I say, here's what I'd like to do, please fund this, here's the address, right? Yeah. That's my address, right? I'm now responsible for doing what I say I'm gonna do. I'm held culpable of that. The difference being in Decred is it goes into a pool,
a community pool.
But who has the keys? That's the thing. So that's why we didn't want to, in theory, do that, because who holds the keys to that pool? Yeah. Who gets into it, right? Who's holding those coins and where? So that's the difference in PIVX is there isn't that pool sitting there. It's every month. More coins are either minted or not minted based on budget proposals.
Okay, so let's just walk through a proposal real quick. Yeah. Let's just say that let's do a small proposal. I think that, when a conference like this happens, I want to print up some, PIVX t-shirts, some swag, and some banners and things like that. Let's say I need $10,000, right? Or and I put together a proposal. I attach $300 worth of 50 PIVX tokens to the proposal to reduce spam, to show that I'm serious about it. I submit it into the PIVX network, right? And then all the people that own a masternode, which contains 10,000 PIVX tokens. Right now, they're valued about $6. So each masternode is worth about $60,000. So the owner of each of these masternodes can make a vote on whether or not the entire network gives me let's just say $10,000 that I requested to do the marketing, to get the banners and to get all the t-shirts and everything printed up, right? So let's just say that I submit it, and let's say that the majority of the network masternodes vote yes on it. Yep. So I get it.
Yep. So then that address, when you submit your proposal, you have to provide an actual PIV address from your wallet, etc. All of a sudden you see, hey, like it got the vote, the proposal went through, then the corresponding amount of PIV, let's say you asked for, 1,500 PIV, all of a sudden now that's in your account. There you go. You just got funded by the network.
Okay, so now let's just say that what does the network do to make sure that I actually take those 1,500 tokens and actually go print these banners and do everything that I promised.
Right. So at that point, that right now comes back to the transparency of, in your proposal, you also should have outlined, in theory, if you're doing your due diligence, what your reporting metrics are going to be, proof of hashes of what you used it for, itemized cost breakdowns. Why? Because then that's validation you actually did your work. From a network side of things, there's nothing once the PIV are there to actually enforce you to do what you said you're going to do.
But I will lose my reputation, credibility.
You run off with, you could run off with 1,500 PIV if you wanted to, but then at that point, like, your reputation in the community, whatever your identity was, is gone. And so then that's why this goes back to, if you're submitting a proposal into the PIVX network, build some relationships. Because if you're brand new saying, hey, give me 10,000 PIV, most people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't know you, right? Unless you've got incredible, references, etc. in your proposal, it's going to be hard because you're stepping in as an outsider into this.
So more than likely, the proposal is more for people who are willing to be open and public. You're not going to be anonymous. And
you can be anonymous. But it's just like, here's the other thing too, right? So this goes back to identity. We've known people's identities, like Bernie Madoff. He was in the public, right? So everybody knew who he was, but that didn't make, like, look what he was doing, right? So that's sort of that argument of, like, we can have anonymous people and actually doing legit stuff. Anonymous people in PIVX, there's people who are still anonymous. Developers are still anonymous, but they've built relationships, so you can tell how they talk, how they engage. Okay, like, I trust him on that level, right? So then when they submit a proposal, you go, okay. So either they're doing the most brilliant long game in the history of long games, but then you see them working on GitHub stuff and you're going, yeah, there's the proof. That's why I'm going to fund them again, because they're actually doing the work.
Okay. All right. So is what other information? So if someone's listening to this right now, they're part of the PIVX community, and they want to, let's just say that they want to participate, right? What is the best way for them? Should they submit a proposal? Should they get to know more, volunteer in the community first? What's your...
my personal opinion? Yeah, so my personal opinion, if you're not in Discord, come into Discord. There's links on pivx.org, right? Come on in. That's where a lot of the community hangs out. There's a Telegram channel. There's Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Discord is where a lot of the banter goes on. Come in, introduce yourself. We also have a forum, so forums.pivx.org. What we say is submit a pre-proposal, right? So that way you're not just spending 50 PIV and having it go away. Get feedback, right? So just like it's a network effect of, hey, we want the community to vote on this thing. If you have an idea, get feedback from the community, because then you might iterate it and make it a little, tweak it better. Or people might go, whoa, somebody already tried to put that in. Bad idea, right? That way you get the feedback before actually submitting the proposal itself. And then that also proves, like, hey, I'm willing to invest time, energy, myself into this.
Okay, so but basically, so if someone wants to, like, from a third world country that does not have, 50 PIVX tokens, I mean, that could be a lot for someone, from a young kid or somebody that's in a country where they only make $100 a month or $200 a month, right? So the ideal thing would be for them to submit a pre-proposal, let the community figure it out, and maybe someone will sponsor that and submit it themselves.
It's happened multiple times where people didn't have funding, right? And they said, look, I don't have the PIV. And people said, yeah, sure, I got it covered for you, right? And then now they're funded and off and doing what they need to do.
Okay.
Back to the community aspect, right? Of building those relationships, putting in a solid proposal, and then trusting in the community to say, like, if they think it's good, we'll find a way to fund it.
And I know this to be true, guys, because when I first started in crypto 4 or 5 years ago, I did not have a lot of money. And what I did was I volunteered in the NXT community, and there was a lot of whales that just donated to me. I didn't even have to submit a proposal. They just saw what I was doing, making tutorials, making videos explaining their project to the public and helping to educate the public about their project. And there were whales that would send donations to me without me even asking, right? So I'm not saying that's going to happen when you guys contribute to the PIVX community, but I'm saying that you have a better chance of getting funded by their proposal system if you actually contribute and give value first.
The other thing I wanted to mention too, and this is a little off topic, but talking about, like, finding ways to get funded, is that's absolutely a brilliant way to get involved in a project, and also people will probably tip you. It happens in PIVX all the time. We also have a site called PIVX Fans, right? So PIVX Fans, I think it's teamwork.com. It's on our website as well. It's basically anybody can join it and do basically bounties. And most of them are social media bounties. So, hey, go upvote this and you can earn PIV. Yeah. So you can start with nothing from a third world country and do social media tasks and engagements and post, create content, do meetups, earn PIV, and now you can start staking, earn more, do that, earn more. So you can literally have somebody start from nothing and get involved.
And you know what? I agree with what you're saying there. I think the more appropriate way to say it is that for people who start out with nothing and don't have a lot to start with and want to contribute to the PIVX project, instead of just saying third world countries. Because then there might be people that have way more money than you and I do, and we're sitting here looking like a bunch of idiots talking about these third world countries, you know. So, but people who have very little resources and they want to get started sooner, you know. So anything else that you want our viewers to know about the PIVX Treasury?
Yeah, the nice thing about it is if you look at a project that's an ICO or that doesn't have a treasury, their funding at some point, either they got to keep getting more from somewhere or it's going to dry up at some point. Versus a project like PIVX, as the energy continues with the project and community grows and awareness grows, etc., then the value, potential value of that treasury every month is going to continue. So there'll always be PIV, right? You can always get PIV. However, the USD equivalent value is going to continue to rise.
Now let me ask you this, right? You said that the network only produces up to 21,000 PIVX tokens to be used for the treasury for funding, right? What happens if, let's say that I submit a proposal that month and it requires more than 21,000, right? Because
you won't get funded. It won't get funded. So if you're saying I need 30,000 PIV this month to do it, it's not going to happen. The protocol is going to go, nope, it's too much. You're rejected.
Okay, so let's say that you and I both put in like 15,000.
Only one's going to get funded.
And so the other one's going to have to wait till the next month.
Yep.
Okay. So
then that becomes the proposal is tiered. What if the proposal is tiered? If the proposal is tiered, then say you'd have 15,000 PIV this month, then 15,000 PIV next month. So if it's approved, it will receive monthly funding.
That's a great. Can you? So the question is about doing tiered, or what we say is like more than 1 month proposals, and that actually happens a lot. People say I want to do a 3-month proposal. You know, instead of asking for 15,000 right now, I want 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, or 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, right? And so that way it spaces it out, and then that allows for more proposals to come in. The other thing too is actually, I think it's the end of next month, the budget is going to double for PIVX. So when we're implementing ZPIV staking, other technology stuff, there's actually going to be a change to the budget system. So there will actually be double the budget than there is now. So we'll actually be at 41,000 PIV or 42,000 PIV available every month.
Now, are you guys maxing out the budget right now, the treasury budget right now, every month?
Mostly, yeah. And if it's not being maxed out by individual proposals for different tasks, usually somebody in the community who's a trusted member will say, hey, let's pull this and use it for, we're going to need to go to events, right? So I'll pull 800 PIV or I'll take the extra 600 PIV and say, this will then be available for anybody who's going to events. Here, boom.
Okay, so it's kind of like a slush pool.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, if you guys are interested in contributing to this PIVX project and you guys have limited financial resources or you guys have ideas to make the network better, you're welcome to submit your PIVX proposals and make sure that, like Mr. Snappy Snap here says, that you submit a pre-proposal first to the community. Let them help you work out the kinks and make it better before you actually submit it with the 50 PIVX tokens, and then before the community can vote on it, and go from there. And so there's opportunities there for everyone to help and contribute to the network. If you guys like these types of videos where we have boots on the ground investing approach and go and interview and talk to the teams and interview them and find out the information straight from the horse's mouth, then make sure you go to www.cryptocurrency.market/newsletter and subscribe to us there, and we'll share more of these videos with you. If you guys want to get in touch with Mr. Snappy Snap Make sure you follow them on Twitter. Make sure you check out PIVX.org. We'll have all that information below this video. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.